Scarlet, another one.
Yo, what's good, man? You are now back, RTTV, baby.
Gang, gang, gang.
And if it's your first time here, it definitely won't be your last. Make sure you kill, murder, and
Smash.
that subscribe button, man. And we are back with another Easter egg breakdown, man. Shout out to all the people over at new ROCKSTARS. This weekend, Super Bowl, we had Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness trailer drop, and boy, was there a lot to unpack there. I feel like we tried to unpack it as much as we could, but you can't slow it down and break it down frame by frame. Or we didn't get a chance to do that, so we're gonna let my boy Eric Voss do that today, man. And we're gonna hopefully learn some new things, man.
Facts.
This is gonna be a movie. I think like I'm probably most anticipated for the movie just because of our assumptions of what we're gonna see. Like if we do see the Illuminati, that's dope because we gotta see a whole bunch of different characters are gonna get introduced to the MCU. Mr. Fantastic, Professor X, and then maybe Tom Cruise is Iron Man. But let's see.
Let's get into it, man. Let's see what they caught over at new ROCKSTARS, man.
Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Eric Voss, and this is a break
Eric!
for Marvel's Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which assures us
I will always be there.
checkmate. We are getting an MCU Illuminati line.
The Illuminati!
Patrick Stewart.
That's the only Illuminati we acknowledge.
What is this movie? I gotta admit, I've outdone myself on this one, folks. Analyzing this trailer frame by frame for details I don't think anyone else is insane enough to see or to talk about.
Talk your shit, Eric.
I'm also gonna include some stuff in the TV spot version of the trailer, and
I didn't even see that.
That's Defender Doctor Strange.
You can't put the subtitles.
Every night, I dream the same dream.
God damn, nigga, we at the movies, bro?
You think so, right?
A frightening hellscape covered in bones and skulls.
Mephisto.
Trees bent askew, and in front of him, a representation of the Sanctum Sanctorum melting into inky nothingness
Oh,
like
wow.
the other New York buildings we saw in the first trailer, all evoking the comic book ink melting of reality and what it
Yes,
absorbs.
sirski.
Except this isn't exactly as strange as Sanctum. It's significantly thinner than we last saw in Spider-Man No Way Home, and it is one floor taller. The effect is a more gaunt structure, like a croaking haunted hotel. What was his healthy Sanctum fortress is now a withering skeleton of itself. And notice in the sky is a glowing red eye, reminding us, of course, of the red edges of Wanda Maximoff's hex reality.
wow.
This whole nightmare could be being projected into Strange's mind by the Scarlet Witch.
Oh,
Wow,
shit.
That's why I told you she's stronger than Doctor Strange, bro.
Wanda, these two share a psychic link. Now, this Strange has a patch of blue sewn into the cloak of levitation, an inverse of the red patch on blue of Defender Strange, who saves America Chavez in a second. Blue versus red seems to be an important point of contrast in this film. Strange has been shifted from his normal red tones to blue tone, along with a lot of the settings in this to signal passivity, all to contrast with Wanda Maximoff's red chaos and violence. Now,
I love how like there's little like subtle details like that to him talk shit.
now we see how the stormy sea has claimed the whole sanctum structure, save for the central staircase, which now extends up and up and up into nowhere like a trick, luring one to heaven, except it's not. It goes into this hellish red eye. These weren't there the past times we saw the sanctum. Now these two statues, one male, one female, both bearing torches, may be representing the Maximoff twins. Then a teacup shatters on the ground. Behind it looks like the wheel of an old wheelchair. Now, it's
How
not
the
exactly
fuck?
the wheelchair of Professor X from the X-Men films, but I suspect a lot is going to be changing for whatever cameos show up in this film. Then America Chavez
That's him, bro.
strung up in front of a star portal, which, if you look closely, opens up to
America
endless
Chavez.
more star portals within that portal. This is our best known power, to kick open these star-shaped portals. We might actually be seeing the origin of her powers right here.
Oh, and it's shaped like a star. Wow.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that.
I think it is our home reality, the utopian parallel. In the comics, the utopian parallel faces destruction from black holes, so her mothers sacrifice themselves, their particles dispersing throughout the multiverse, and the creature attacking her here may be
What the hell?
on this, the Demiurge, who is the embodiment of Earth's sentient life, and the comics the original source of her powers. And we should mention is one final form of Billy Kaplan Wiccan, Wanda Maximoff's son, which could be how this film ties the fate of Wanda and her sons.
That's
the
fucking
hell?
nuts.
Wow.
And the Demiurge hasn't really been shown to be
And
this
they're both the Young Avengers. They're both Young Avengers and West Coast Avengers.
entity's ribbony appearance, like glowing electrical tape, could connect to Strange's spell, the Crimson Bands of Citrak, which he used to restrain Thanos in Infinity War, which could make this fella maybe Citrak himself. Now, the TV shot actually showed in this moment an alternate Defender Doctor Strange, hair tied back in a ponytail with stripes.
Yeah, I've never seen that before.
From this thing, using what looks like a three-dimensional version of Strange's normal flat Eldritch magic to hold off the entity, which would then lead to the shot we see in this trailer of that same ponytail Doctor Strange tumbling through a star portal, a shot that flips upside down to find us back with our Doctor Strange instead. But is it our Doctor Strange? Because his hands are fully healed. When in past films, Strange's hands are always meant to be forever scarred. And there's an iPad left open on his bed, coffee filters into test tubes on his
Oh,
leg.
wow.
Strange said in this part of the trailer that he has the same dream every night. Hell Sanctum, his alternate self saving a kid, and then the nightmare begins. So the nightmare might be this reality that he wakes up into, a reality where he never became a sorcerer, he never injured his hands, and really he just aged into a lonely douchebag falling asleep with his Pornhub tab still open.
Fucking new rock stars,
Nah,
baby.
He's bodying this, bro.
Now, when Strange says the nightmare begins, we should also acknowledge the possibility that the demonic entity Nightmare could be the villain of this film. This idea was floated by the original director Scott Derrickson. The Marvel Studios title card turns purple and has tentacles snaking across the letters, evoking the limbs of Gargantos, but also one of the multi-limbed.
Oh, I said
Yeah,
that.
you just said that.
This movie seems to be showing the live-action versions of. In fact, on the poster for this film, in the lower right corner, one broken shard of glass shows the shield of Captain Carter.
Wow.
Who's also supposed to be a part of the Illuminati.
That would be crazy.
Then Doctor Strange conjures these red orbs. Look closely; they're coming from the Darkhold on the floor there. That's part
Oh,
of the
shit.
Yeah.
band that appeared on WandaVision first in Agatha's possession before it was claimed by Wanda. That's why the magic it conjures is now red, like Wanda's chaos magic, as we saw her conjuring in that final WandaVision scene.
She look good.
We've seen a depiction of the various universes being connected in this movie, with Doctor Strange trying to locate one world in particular. Over out of that shot, that looks like that is Wanda Maximoff standing there with him. But then Strange, suddenly afraid, slams all this magic back into the book as if he's trying to hide it from the person in the room with him. And on that page, you can see a triangle, perhaps a symbol of Marvel's Illuminati. A
Oh,
location
wow.
he wants to hide from Wanda Maximoff for reasons I'll get to later as we move on.
Yo, this guy is so freaking good, yo.
Nigga.
You know, when it showed the buildings, I think he might talk about like the Fantastic Four building when it showed the buildings in that first shot. But he's nasty, bro.
His wife, or ex-wife, or girl that he wanted to be with.
To protect our world, as in his actions saved his universe at the expense of all other universes. Strange used the Time Stone to give his universe an improper advantage to undo Thanos' snap. More recently, he used his magic of the runes of Kafkal to basically.
Yeah, Doctor Strange been out here wilding. He's my guy.
Mordo warned us about this. That when Strange would push the laws of reality like this,
The bill comes due. Always.
and like Strange in that what if universe bypassing an absolute point, this strangest reality has begun to melt the same exact way and open itself up to interdimensional threats. We see a new look at this melting of the rooftop, individual bricks breaking off, cars floating in that blizzard, headlights still shining. Now the melting of the buildings here seems to merge into these black strands, reminding us of the Ancient One's dark branch timeline that she warned Bruce Banner about in Endgame. And here it's not just that reality is melting into nothing, but that chaos is spinning into one beneficiary destination. On to the next clip.
Wanda, what do you know about the multiverse?
He's had his theories. He believed it was dangerous.
Fucking centaur.
He was right.
So we see Scarlet Witch once again holding this seance in the Camartage courtyard. We know that's where it is because you can tell from the statues behind her, in the floor beneath her, the same tiling that we see beneath that Minotaur sorcerer later. We get a better look of him in this trailer. This is Rintrock from the comics. But yes, the Scarlet Witch is probably the one attacking Camartage because actually in the TV spot, the sorcerers in that courtyard raise their shields to some floating figure overhead.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that is Wanda. Now, compare to her look at the end of WandaVision during the seance. Her Scarlet Witch wardrobe has evolved. Her sleeves now cover her arms fully, and darker tones streak through her chest piece and her tiara.
Yeah,
Also,
he's
as you
right.
pointed out before, the tips of her fingers are black, similar to Agatha's fingers when she.
Oh yeah, she on some evil
Yeah.
shit. Yeah.
That's right, as we hear Strange say,
That's fire.
shockwave blows out from her body. Now, in her orchard, if that is what it really is, Wanda tells Strange that Vision had theories about the multiverse that was dangerous. So, despite Vision warning Wanda, she's still creating
Oh,
an
yeah.
alternate reality in that Westview hex, and now continues to peer through alternate universes to find her children. And yes, this peaceful orchard with sheep is probably an illusion, because later in the trailer, as Wanda points out the double standard of Strange breaking the rules and him getting to be a hero, Strange is wearing the same outfit as he is here in the orchard, suggesting that Wanda is actually in a much darker place in this moment, both in her mindset and in her literal surroundings. Moving on.
This movie's gonna have so much
Wow.
mind fucks. You're gonna be
Yeah.
like, yo, what's an illusion? What's not?
I gotta watch this day one, bro. Day one, we gotta go watch
Yeah,
this.
hell yeah.
So we gotta watch what?
This movie, right when it comes out.
Yeah, nah.
So Strange brings
That I
the
think that's
Ultron
Iron Man
Palmer to the room.
ish shit. Cause remember when we was like that? It might be Ultron.
Here's this
Ultron sings.
blue outfit, and that's because this might actually be an alternate Christine Palmer whom Strange found working at Illuminati HQ, because the TV spot reveals Christine in these clothes plus a white lab coat in their detainment sector. Then Mordo, or perhaps an alternate version of Mordo that might actually be Sorcerer Supreme from his native reality, detains Strange using these nifty looking handcuffs. Love the design of these.
Yeah.
It's a mix of analog sorcerer machinery with runes engraved into that spinning lock in the middle, but overall they have this chunky silver chrome of something more futuristic, something that might be connected to the vibranium tech of these Ultron Sentries. Ultron Sentries, who escort Doctor Strange in this awesome location.
Oh
It looks
my
like a
God.
Yeah, that's
for
crazy, bro.
Hall of Justice. We see 4 kneeling winged statues, and then a warrior with a sword and a ring. The way a certain multiversal warrior, Captain Carter, emerged from a circular portal with her sword in hand. Now, this whole interior, the glass ceiling, the curved staircases, the classic columns, is actually the interior of the British Museum in London, a place I've been to many times. I love the British Museum. It's famous for having the Rosetta Stone, one of the earliest artifacts that anthropologists have
fire.
used to translate and decode, cross-reference old languages, which is super fitting for Charles Xavier to model his multiversal nexus point on such a cultural touchstone.
Wow, that's fire, bro.
I find it fascinating the parallels between this and the Citadel of He Who Remains in Loki, which also had a lit tower in their columns and 4 statues in its central chamber, one of which was mysteriously destroyed.
Oh.
We have an answer to what that was all about. Now, there are 6 chairs on the Illuminati panel, but we only see 3 members in this trailer. Could Kang have been
On that panel.
You
Wow.
said that.
Yeah, I
you
was
did
like,
say that. That's crazy. Wow. Wow. I think that's what I didn't agree with you. I said
Yeah,
I
he
think
was
it was
like,
the Kang thing. But
his own run by 3 puppets? It's just a theory.
yo, one of the people had a sword.
Ooh, baby, yes, one of the biggest reveals in MCU history, one that we will be unpacking for months to come. That was the voice of Patrick Stewart, Professor Charles Xavier.
Let's fucking go!
In the Marvel Cinematic Universe as a member of what is almost certain to be the Illuminati. Now, Marvel's Illuminati is a secret alliance. Tony Stark, Charles Xavier, Reed Richards, Doctor Strange, Black Bolt, and Namor.
He's one of the Inhumans.
Be part of it, but he backed out. Actually, in Iron Man 2, Tony Stark had a little app on his phone labeled Illuminati. Fun little Easter egg there. But here, the Illuminati,
Wow.
Early they teased that.
seem to be serving as a multiversal governing body with representatives from across universes. By bringing Fox X-Men
Yo,
characters
dude
in,
on the
they're
left
building
looks
on
like
the meta-logic
it could be Mr. Fantastic.
Marvel Studios is now adopting formerly separate cinematic universes as mere universes within their multiverse
Yep.
and expanding to the Fox X-Men titles. But if Patrick Stewart is a representative from a separate reality, that could limit how much of that separate reality
That's
we
true.
actually see
I thought about that too, yeah.
which other Fox X-Men cameo just yet. Like Ian McKellen Magneto, Hugh Jackman Wolverine, maybe not.
I fucking wish.
Deadpool, very likely.
Deadpool!
Confirmed to cross over to the MCU, and now that door has been opened.
Yeah.
Context finally to why Evan Peters was cast as Wanda's brother Pietro in her hex.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Did say this is just a Ralph Boner joke, but the logic is all in place now. We never saw Ralph after Wanda's hex, so it could just be as simple as Wanda's ability to warp reality might have caused her to adjacent universe. Like if Tom Holland Peter Parker were to die in the MCU and Wanda Maximoff wanted to create a pocket reality where Peter was alive once more, the Peter in that hex might look like Andrew Garfield.
I get what he's saying.
Evan Peters actually being Pietro from his Fox X-Men timeline, crossing over to WandaVision could make an equal amount of sense. Now, meanwhile, I don't know if this is the Charles Xavier from the exact Fox X-Men timeline, whatever that was at the end of that series. Because one thing that was clear is that Charles Xavier died in the year 2029 in Logan after it was revealed he accidentally killed all the X-Men, or most of them. I think it's likelier that this Charles could be from a branch timeline within that universe, because time travel screwed up a lot of stuff there, let's be honest. He actually could be something closer to a live-action version of the X-Men 97, a version of Charles Xavier that existed in the branch timeline.
I feel like that would make sense for the MCU.
Which is probably why they're bringing it back.
Yeah.
There are 6 chairs. So let's try to fill these chairs. Who they belong to. 2 of the figures are seated.
That looks like Mr. Fantastic, bro.
So I'm wondering if this could be Charles, who in this form has found his ability to walk once more. Now the seated figure on the left wears a form-fitting suit that you could say looks a lot like the vibranium armor of Black Panther. And yes, this Illuminati lineup may include a new actor playing a variant T'Challa. However,
True.
this particular figure just looks a bit more slender in the arms, like Reed Richards.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking.
Krasinski, yeah, let's be honest, he's jacked Ryan. Let's slide over to that other seated figure who is
Oh, that could be Captain Carter.
Supreme Mordo, or Alt Reality Photon or Spectrum Monica Rambeau, or were those Ultron
Monica
Sentries that
Rambeau.
clue that one member of this panel is actually Ultron Infinity from What If?
Oh,
Or that
shit.
Ship Theseus White Vision from
I'd be
What If?
surprised.
White
that makes
Vision.
more sense. Cause I feel like the other Ultron wouldn't work with them.
In which Tony Stark's Ultron protocol actually succeeded.
That's what I'm thinking too, because they have the core reactor in it.
The superior Iron Man will play
What the fuck is that?
Tom Cruise. I mean, we've heard this speculation for years, and now it just seems all possible, doesn't it? Let's focus on what Charles actually says here. We should tell him the truth. What truth? The truth that Strange maybe didn't do anything wrong, or that him becoming a sorcerer was a mistake, or that all this is just some Kang-exposed sham organization? Perhaps, but I think the truth here is that the MCU that we have loved all these years is not the core reality of this multiverse.
Oh,
That would be
wow.
In an incomplete post-House of M reality where mutants have been erased this whole time, we just didn't see it as anything wrong. And now it is time.
That's fire.
Yo.
That's fire. That's fire. Yo, I hope that's the case. That's fire, bro.
That would actually make a lot of sense.
That would be
too.
genius.
Yeah.
How would they even
Wild,
do
bro.
that?
I
Like,
don't get that. I don't get it.
Cause
Like a
like
post
that's
House
what
of M reality where the mutants don't exist. Oh, yeah, that makes.
A T-Rex fight a Triceratops.
Oh,
And it's
shit.
not that. They insanely smash into an animated cartoon reality.
Oh my gosh!
With What If, this could actually be how the animated Captain Carter gets roped into this. Then Strange America
Nah, that's
exploded
wild.
cubic puzzle pieces. A visual that looks like a mix of Drax's Reality Stone hit in Infinity War and Joe Quesada's art of the Scarlet Witch in the House of M variant.
Yeah.
Some of their blocks look like stones from a statue, and you can actually see the rows of Steven's individual teeth still intact in his gums on each block. On to the next clip.
This is the one that I'm most curious about.
You break the rules.
Saying that's either.
who is that?
Magneto.
Oh yeah, it looks like Wanda will invade Illuminati HQ and get into a huge brawl with someone who looks like they're going binary the way Captain Marvel does.
It could be.
Look at that person closely. This is a woman of color. Now I know some of you think this is Tom Cruise with a goatee, but that's just a contouring of her cheeks. Tom Cruise's figure is not this womanly, folks. This is definitely either Monica Rambeau or her mother, Maria Rambeau. Maria Rambeau's call sign was Photon.
Monica Rambeau is lit.
She died of cancer during the blip, but in WandaVision, Monica Rambeau powered up into the super.
Yeah, that could tie that. Yeah, they could tie that in.
The moment that happened, her body was split into several alternate selves as she passed through that hex wall. And I think one of those alternate selves could be this one we are seeing now. If you think about it, Monica fighting Wanda seems to be the
Makes
most
sense.
collision,
Yeah.
considering these two were both there for the battle.
Yeah, that does. Yeah.
Then we see the attack on Camertage in the tea room that we saw in the 2016 film, including Master Hamir returning from that film. Then a close-up of America Chavez gives a good look at her wardrobe. Stars embroidered on her.
It looks just like. It kind of looks like her fit in the comics.
Love is love, and a black man signaling some LGBTQ plus representation. Gargantos throws the bus with an ad on the end for La Llave Coffee, the key of tea. Then I love this shot. Strange looks up at another alternate sanctum with a statue out front, a statue that has no facial hair. Though in this New York, greenery and oddly curved wind turbines cover all the buildings, and white flowering trees line the streets. Trees like the ones in Wanda's fake.
Okay.
Oh.
So in Strange's nightmare, we saw the darkest timeline. Here, this looks like the brightest timeline, where a variant Strange has used his powers
For the right things. Yeah.
It doesn't seem fair.
Ooh.
Okay, so interesting. Two Wandas meet each other, and this is Wanda's Westview house in WandaVision. You can see two scooters in the background belonging to her sons, Billy and Tommy. One of their baseball gloves on the floor there. But this place is wrecked. The staircase handrail, the balusters are broken, as if there was a fight between these two Wandas. And the standing one is the one who is barefoot. Youch. I actually wondered if this kneeling Wanda tried to recreate the Westview hex to have her children once more, but failed. And now, defeated, she's letting the darker side of her identity take over. If you think about it, the last time we saw her in WandaVision, her consciousness was split.
Yeah, they really pieced together WandaVision to this universe so beautifully.
Project normally can't do. There was one in casual wear brewing tea, and then the other one in the Scarlet Witch form searching for her kids actively. Now, I'm wondering which of those two is actually the deadlier threat. The one who's searching for her kids, or the one who's just sipping tea, not giving up.
I feel him.
Strange's cuffs. Now I'm wondering if Mordo might be doing this on purpose to
Free him.
Strange so that Strange can help them fight this invading Scarlet Witch. But it might be too late because a huge explosion from red chaos magic tears through the HQ, leading to these elaborate fireworks as we think Rainbow's form gets blasted through that explosion. Then this other sorcerer uses a sick move with a lasso to attack Gargantos.
Yep.
TV spot actually showed America Chavez beneath this gross underbelly, and in these close-ups you can see how each of its tentacle suckers are actually barbed with teeth. Ugh. Then this gnarly shot of Wanda aiming red chaos magic. She's at the doorway of Illuminati HQ. Her face is bleeding like crazy, and separately she has black ink stains on her shirt. Behind her in the distance looks like one of the bells of Camartage. Perhaps after sacking that location and holding her seance there, she used that to access the gateway to this compound. But why does she want to get in here? Well, when the camera zooms into her eye, there's a brief image of two holding cells. These are Illuminati detention cells. Dr. Strange was cuffed in one of these, and in the TV spot, Christine Palmer works among other techs who hold America in another cell. So the reason Wanda hasn't been able to find a reality with her sons, the reason why her attempt to recreate
Is because they're at the Illuminati HQ in the cells. Wow. Wow.
That could make sense though, because they put like they don't want them within that timeline.
Yeah.
That's why she says it's not fair.
And her twin brother locking them up in adjacent cells, like in the comic House of M. All of this madness comes from a denial by Professor X and by Doctor Strange to allow Wanda reality with her children. And it's gonna end with Wanda drastically warping all that reality. But in this case,
So I think this will go into House of M as a movie.
Avengers in the MCU. On to the final clip. Again with a version of Doctor Strange and Wong on this snowy mountaintop.
Wong's gonna die in this movie.
In these demonic figures,
I think we said that last movie we seen him in too.
same inky texture that the buildings and the other surfaces are melted
Spider-Man.
into, as if this is the chaos that it's all bleeding into. Now the TV spot actually shows Strange facing another peak across the
It looks like
land with
Galactus.
some winged devil at the peak of it. That spot also shows a close-up of Strange, whose face is rotting away, looking a lot like his zombie Strange self. In
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he does.
I didn't even notice that.
This spot also includes a shot of Wanda looking especially zombie-like. Now, while
Oh yeah, because remember Wanda was a zombie.
Yeah.
Zombie Wanda survived. She returned in the final episode. So I don't know if these are zombies as much as they're just animated corpses, but it is insane to see their souls so strong that they can keep their bodies intact long after their flesh should have expired. The final shot shows this rotting Strange blocking a rift into darkness. Dozens of inky skeletons trying to shove out past him as skeleton arms fan out behind him, evoking the images of Icon pose when fighting Thanos in Infinity War. Now, counteracting that spell was the one time we saw the Soul Stone being used in the MCU. And I find it interesting that Strange's soul is all he has left. The film title comes together from hundreds of pieces, like the shattering and reassembling shards of reality in this movie. But this is the third title design we've seen. It's almost like the studio wants us to constantly reframe the reality and
That breakdown was fire. It seems like based on what they said, because I remember even reading House of M, and I remember like Professor X and Doctor Strange pretty much shaping that reality so Wanda doesn't go crazy. I think that's gonna tie into a House of M project, and if it does, like, I think that shit will be crazy because House of M is already a crazy comic as it is. So like,
I don't know
how this ends, bro.
I like the fact that he brought up the concept of the fact that this universe that we've been seeing throughout these movies isn't the pivotal universe because of the fact it doesn't have mutants in it. So the fact that could be a way of setting up for basically another universe that actually has mutants to show up. It's kind of genius of like Marvel to kind of set that up, because like I feel like they always had an idea of MCU expanding and having like the X-Men and all that in it, but it was like, all right, how are we gonna go about it? And that's actually, I think, a smart way of doing it.
I didn't get what you said.
Basically, they were saying like maybe the universe that we've been watching all these years isn't the real MCU, like basically, or isn't the real universe. Like that's a universe that they created without mutants, and now like this is the real world is like complete with mutants in it.
Yeah.
Was that in a way to frame it to Wanda so that she won't go crazy? Was that
I think like you're talking about his explanation?
Yeah.
I think it was more so because he said it's kind of like a post House of M reality where all the mutants are destroyed, where there's not any mutants. So like I think that throughout that whole time, maybe that could have just been that reality. I think that's what he was saying.
Yeah, like they were living in a reality without mutants, and that wasn't the whole.
And that wasn't the real. And that wasn't the real reality because and we all know, growing up in Marvel, realistically, the whole universe has mutants in it. So like to make that twist to where it's like that's not the reality, and because there's no mutants, I like it. The only thing that I'm curious about is how do we tie in everybody else from the MCU if that reality is not real?
Well, the way they tie,
because like the only other thing that I could think of is because like with House of M, it's like the people there are still from the real reality, but like their roles have just changed, right? So the only other thing I could think of is if that throughout the whole time, people's didn't really know what their roles were, or like they didn't have their memories. I can't call it, but
yeah. Cause I mean, for me, I was thinking, since they have the moment that in Wanda's eyes that there's two cages and it has possibly her two children in it, it's possible that the Illuminati had it that this universe doesn't have mutants in it, so it makes more sense that her kids aren't in because kids are mutants and shit like that. So they created that reality so it can make more sense that her kids won't be in this one. But then in the end of it, it could be possible that maybe she uses a dark code, because we see that there's two variants of the Wanda. And it was like one could be stronger than the other. So it could end off that at the end of it, she finds her kids. It's like, oh, fuck that. This reality has mutants in it. And then now it transitions to the new MCU now where we have mutants as within this world. And
yeah, because it only makes sense why Wanda's attacking everybody. It's because she's trying to get her kids back. And the Illuminati doesn't want to allow her kids to be in this world because they're mutants. So that's why she goes to Strange. She's like, yo, that's not fair. You know what I'm saying? So like she's painted as the villain, but in reality it makes sense because it's like somebody's controlling her children, her destiny to live with her kids. Somebody.
That's Magneto.
That's what I was gonna talk about too.
Yeah, what about it?
Cause so do you remember in WandaVision? I don't know, they didn't talk about this in this breakdown, but do you remember in WandaVision when they showed the flashback of her in her hometown, and then like how her powers just her powers just kind of kicked in, and we didn't really have any explanation. Now, if this is in another universe, right, and they never called her a mutant, they called her an enhanced human, I think it was. They called her an enhanced human in the MCU. What if, and I could be completely wrong with this, but what if she's she's initially from that world with the humans and she got brought to that world some way, somehow?
Like from another reality?
Yeah, from another reality. Because she is Magneto's daughter. So how else are we gonna explain? How else are we gonna explain that? And how are we gonna tie that in together? And if Professor X is in the video in this, is he gonna have like some type of acknowledgement to the fact that I know who your father, you're Magneto's daughter, and maybe even though she breaks in the thing, maybe some way somehow she finds out about that, and he tries to put up like some type of failsafe to keep her from getting in Illuminati headquarters. I don't know.
Because it all depends if he's in the same universe. Yeah. It all depends if in his universe, Wanda is Magneto's daughter. Like, because he even said too, it's like, because this could be a variant of Professor X. So just because it's Patrick Stewart doesn't mean it's the same. It's gonna be the Patrick Stewart that has all the memories that we've seen throughout the movies. Because it could be a Patrick Stewart from the different, like you said, it could be from X-Men 97 and shit like that. So he has a whole different interpretation of his universe and people, the relationships and everybody in it.
Yeah, I love these breakdowns because I feel like they just make it where there's just unlimited possibilities in the MCU. Like, there's just unlimited possibilities of where these stories can go. Like, it seems like they're never going to run out. And shout out to Wanda, yo, because we already see it, yo. She do not play about her family, man. From watching the series, it was really just like, yo, I want to make a world where Vision's here, my brother's here. Yep. I want to make my own shit, leave me alone. Just give my world, like, leave me fuck alone. Niggas didn't want to leave her, people didn't want to leave her alone. She was like, all right, bro, I was just chilling. Like, now you guys want to bust my balls? Yep. Say less, yo. So now they like, in this one, it's like, you took my kids? All right, bro, you know how I get down, bro. Like, why you gotta play with me? Like, I was chilling. Like, now y'all want to knock, you want to play, keep playing with me. You gonna see what's gonna happen.
And there's two other things too. First and foremost, one thing that they pointed out, which I didn't think about, was the Black Panther. Was that Black Panther might be on that council because he is in the Illuminati too. And this comes out before Black Panther, so he's like, "Yo, could this be a new person cast as Black Panther?" Because we haven't had any context on that.
Yeah,
we've had zero context on how they're gonna go about it the next movie, right? So that was an interesting take too. And another thing too
that could be Michael B. Jordan, because wasn't he the Black Panther? And what if
he was? Well, he was Killmonger. I don't know because Killmonger was never.
No, what if?
And what if?
Yeah, no, I know, I remember, but he was still Killmonger, and then he took on that Black Panther pedestal because he killed thing, but I can't call it. And then another thing too was the Ultron droids. Like, it's funny that they said that because I was thinking that too, because I'm like, yo, they kind of have an arc. They look like they had an arc reactor in their chest, right? So initially, because it was made from Tony Stark, right? So initially, this could be a world where he can control Ultron. That's what I think, and that's what I think. That's why I think we're gonna get that Iron Man cameo. Whether it's gonna be Tom Cruise or not, I don't know. But like, that's why I think we're gonna get that Iron Man cameo in the Illuminati, or we're gonna get some type of context on that, even if we don't get the cameo.
Man, I love Tom Cruise to be in this shit, bro. I'll be souped.
I think this is definitely gonna be a dope movie, man. They have a lot of possibilities, a lot of places they can go, man. We got a lot of dope movies coming out, like, in the next couple of months. I know this one's in May. Batman.
Oh, this is in May? I thought it was March.
This is March.
Oh,
but this is May?
I thought this was May.
Oh, wait, no, this is May. March. I'm tripping. Batman's
March. This is May.
I really thought this was closer, yo.
Nah. This one's May 9th, I believe, and Batman is March 4th, maybe? Some shit like that.
It's later than
Batman boy.
It's later than March 4th. Let me see.
Yeah, Batman boy.
What is it again? Batman boy?
DC's back in this bitch. Peacemaker.
Just search it.
No, I just wanted to know. But yeah, man, regardless, we gonna be here to cover all of the new Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness content. We're gonna be here for Batman, man. We're gonna be here for all of it. We got Moon Knight coming at the end of March, so make sure you keep it locked here on RTTV. Shout out to new Rockstars, man. Y'all keep breaking it down. We're gonna keep watching it so we can break it down with you. But if it's your first time here, definitely gonna be your last. Make sure you kill, murder, and smash. That's subscribe button, man. I go by the name of DC.
Yo, it's your boy Wells, the Anime King, and I know like Disney and Marvel execs are looking at new Rockstars like, yo, who the fuck is leaking this information to this guy?
Yo, Patrick R.T., yo, Doctor Strange, nigga. It's about to be the best movie this year, boy.
Yo, it's a man, the myth, the maniac, Wilkins _ RT. And you were close. It's March 4th, so that's like in 2 weeks. Wow.
March 4th is Batman?
Yeah. And
Batman.
It's funny that you said the X-Men 97 thing, because like if you notice at the end of Spider-Man, they were trying to revert back to that old school Spider-Man, even with the fit too, because that was a 90s Spider-Man fit. So that's another reason why that could make sense, because they're trying to get back to that storyline too.
It's your boy Upset LT.
And that settles it at
the Round Table.